Right, Alicia. Now I know the doctor went over everything that's been going on, but I did want to explain a little bit further for you to better understand. That way you can make your choices based on an understanding and an educational factor of what's going on with you specifically, okay? Now, I know you have type 1 diabetes. Now, if you're not familiar with that, I just want to kind of explain that a little bit more so for you. It is a chronic condition in which your pancreas, or an organ in your body, produces no insulin. That's why it's so important for you to monitor your glucose as well as administer your insulin. Now, because of your lack of insulin in your body recently, you were also diagnosed with hyperglycemia, which is where you have really high blood sugar levels in your body. Looking at your labs, you do have higher levels of ketones. That can also mean that you have potential diabetic ketoacidosis. This can also lead to that abdominal pain that you've been experiencing. But essentially, it's where there's not enough insulin in your body, which can then be triggered by other infections like your cellulitis that you're currently experiencing. Now, I did see that you participate in quite a few activities outside of school. How has your health impacted your ability to be able to perform your activities?
Honestly, I just feel really tired, and I feel like the more I put on my plate, I feel like I can't juggle it all and try to figure out how to keep my food intake with what I want.
Absolutely. And that's a completely normal feeling to have. Now, when it came to you passing out at school, did you feel like there was something that led to that?
No, I mean, sometimes when it happens, I feel like maybe I got up too fast, or maybe I'm just really stressed out, but I haven't really thought about it too much.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, you are doing a lot of things, so it's super important for you to be able to make sure that you're taking care of your body as best as you can. When you did pass out at school, how did it make you feel?
Honestly, embarrassed. I felt like everyone was looking at me and they were going to judge me, but I didn't really know if it was something serious or not. And my parents got really freaked out because they called the nurse, or got a call from the nurse. So yeah, I mean, I would say I just was embarrassed in front of all people.
Absolutely. I mean, I would have felt the same way. It's definitely a scary feeling when something that is unknown happens to you and you wake up and you're just kind of in a new place that you're not really sure what happened or what caused that to happen. But again, that's why I wanted to educate you on what's going on in your body and the why, because it's important for you to understand the why, so that it kind of hopefully helps you understand that if something like this were to occur again, that you understand what brought that about, okay? Now, what do you think you can do differently that will prevent you from having to feel that way again, that embarrassing feeling, or even just the feeling of your fatigue and your tiredness that you've been experiencing?
Yeah, I feel like making sure that I take time for myself, but also knowing when to ask for help if I feel like I don't have time.
Yeah.
And also just knowing why. I felt like more of my embarrassment was because I just didn't know why it happened.
Absolutely.
And so being more in tune with that, I think, could probably be something that I can work on.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, is there something throughout your day that you feel like you can do better at? And if so, what do you think that could be?
Yeah, I mean, I know my mom gets at me all the time about drinking coffee for breakfast or like skipping breakfast, but I just feel like sometimes I just don't have time. So I know she's talked about maybe making my breakfast in the evening, or has like given me different recipes, but maybe making time for that could be something I could try.
Absolutely, that's super important. But again, it has to make sense for you moving forward in your schedule. I know, again, that you're quite busy and you have a lot of things on your plate and a lot of activities that you're trying to cram throughout the day. Now, do you feel like that is standing in your way of making those necessary changes to be better in your management of your diabetes?
I think it just kind of like goes hand in hand. Like, I know it's important, but I feel like I just prioritize doing all of my tasks and hobbies, and I'm just trying to like get as much done as I can.
Yeah.
But I think trying to find balance is probably something that feels more true to like what I need, but knowing that it is important to pay attention to my diabetes.
Absolutely. Balance is definitely key, especially when you are as young as you are, trying to do all the things. Now, when you play soccer, I know that's probably a big part of your life. Obviously, you play it year-round. Is that something that you ever run into where that fatigue is happening when you're playing soccer, or you maybe start getting lightheaded, or just noticing some changes while you're running?
Yeah, I feel like definitely there are days where, you know, sometimes I think, oh, maybe I didn't stretch enough, or maybe I just like didn't work hard enough. But there are days where I can tell, like, if I ate a certain time before, or if I had enough of a meal, I feel better. But I feel like there's just so much happening because I'm like running across the field that I don't really like think about it in the moment. But I do understand now that there's probably a lot to do with like how much food I'm consuming.
Yeah,
prior.
absolutely. And the type of food you're consuming, and again, managing those glucose levels that you got to keep on. Now, what part of your health makes you most concerned, or what is most important to you when it comes to your health?
I think for me, like I don't want anything really bad to happen
Yeah.
to me, obviously, and I want to also enjoy all the things I'm doing, but sometimes finding food that I like and like fitting it in my schedule just stresses me out.
Absolutely.
But yeah, I mean, I want to continue working on my health, and I don't want my parents to be like worried about me all the time.
Absolutely. No, that's good. And it's good that your parents are worried because it shows that you have that support system that you're going to need in making those necessary changes. Now, what would be a good goal or a good change that you would like to focus on?
I think being able to like actually check my levels and make the time for that is like a small thing that I feel like I need to take
Yeah.
more seriously. But
Absolutely.
I know eventually when I like maybe trying new foods to see if there are things that I might like that I haven't had before. But I think maybe starting small is something that I feel like is not putting too much on my plate.
Yeah, absolutely. And I can 100% support that. I think it's important that you've recognized that. And it's a great thing that we're taking these necessary steps for you so that way you never have to feel that embarrassment ever again. Or imagine if that would have happened on the soccer field. It could have been a very scary experience for you. That's already scary. Now, what do you think would be the best way to implement your change with your lifestyle and your schedule?
Maybe making like a checklist or like a to-do list, maybe putting it in my planner, like something I know I'm checking a lot of my things at school.
Yeah.
But maybe making the time and also maybe communicating with my teachers, like if there is like a time period where I do need to check my levels, because it's not something that like all of my classmates understand.
Absolutely, absolutely. Now, what about your meal planning, or just in regards to your dietary intake throughout the day? Do you feel like there is a way that you can implement better options for yourself to make sure that you're still eating and not having to just grab a quick thing to make that time throughout your schedule?
Yeah, I mean, I know sometimes my mom preps things for herself, but sometimes I don't really like the food that she's making, so maybe if I try to do that with her, that could maybe be something that I try.
Yeah.
It definitely will be hard for me since I'm so tired at the end of the day, but I think that it could be something that I could see if it works so that I don't have to feel rushed all day.
Absolutely. I think that's a great thing is maybe doing that with your mom who already has experience in that meal planning process to make sure that we're implementing the necessary things into your diet. But again, making sure that you're able to access those pieces throughout your busy day. One thing I did want to add for you is definitely lessening your simple carbs and implementing more complex carbs like your vegetables and your whole grains when you're going through just your process of meal prepping and making your meals and even grocery shopping. But I think it's going to be really good for you to be able to be a part of that because you get to experience and understand what each part goes into your meal planning and the importance of it for your overall health and wellness as well as managing your diabetes.